How the conspiracy theory of landing on the moon began and why it persists to this day. July 12, 2019. Peter Knight, a professor of American Studies at the University of Manchester, explores the origins of the landing conspiracy on the moon and why some people still believe we never stepped there. How the conspiracy theory of landing on the moon began and why it persists to this day. Bill Kaysing was a former U.S. Navy officer who worked as a technical writer for one of the rocket makers for NASA's Apollo lunar missions. He claimed he had internal knowledge of a government conspiracy to counterfeit landings on the moon, and many conspiracy theories about the Apollo lunar landings that persist to this day go back to his 1976 book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle. Opening round bracket. We never went to the moon, the $30 billion hoax of America. The basic model of conspiracy theory is that NASA was not able to safely land a man on the moon in the late 1960s, as President John F. Kennedy had promised, so that it only sent astronauts into Earth orbit. Conspiracy theorists argue that NASA staged moon landings in a movie studio and that there are telltale signs in the footage and photos that show the game. They claim that NASA has covered up the elaborate scam ever since. Skeptics of landing on the moon point to supposed clues, such as photos that seem to show astronauts in front of sites that were engraved on the glass of the camera, or a mysterious letter C visible on a moonstone. These and many other apparent anomalies were unmasked, but the conspiracy theories of lunar landing persisted in the popular imagination. In the U.S., opinion polls indicate that 5 to 10% of Americans are wary of the official version of events. In the UK, a YouGov poll in 2012 found that 12% of Britons believed in conspiracy theory. A recent survey found that 20% of Italians believed that moonlighting was a farce, while a 2018 survey in Russia raised the figure to 57%, not surprising given the popularity of anti-Western conspiracy theories there. Ready not to believe. Kaysing's conspiracy theory settled in the mid-1970s in the United States, largely because of a broader crisis of confidence in the country at the time. In 1971, citizens read the leaked documents from the Pentagon, showing that the Johnson administration had been systematically lying about the Vietnam War. They tuned in every night with the hearings on the Watergate break-in and the subsequent cover-up. A series of congressional reports detailed the CIA's misconduct in the country and abroad, and in 1976 the House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded, in contrast to the Warren Commission more than a decade before, that there was a conspiracy to kill Kennedy. These revelations have helped fuel a broader shift in conspiracy thinking since the late 1960s, from the belief in outside enemies to the suspicion that the American state itself was plotting against its citizens. The conspiracy theories of landing on the moon proved to be particularly difficult to get rid of ever since. To understand their popularity, we need to consider their cultural context as well as the psychological dispositions of those who believe. As in the Kennedy assassination case, they formed a new kind of conspiracy theorizing. These theories reinterpret publicly available evidence, uncovering inconsistencies in the official record, rather than discovering suppressed information. Visual evidence is crucial. For all their skepticism, the starting point is that seeing is believing. In the realm of photographic evidence, the assumption is that everyone can be a detective. In conspiracy theory, communities that emerged in the late 1960s, the self-taught chandelier became central. Built reality. The conspiracy theories of landing on the moon also brought to the mainstream the notion that significant events are not what they seem. They were staged, part of an official campaign of disinformation. The idea that tragic events are created by crisis actors employed by the government has become the standard explanation for many events today, from September 11 to the mass shootings. This type of conspiracy theory is particularly damaging. For example, parents of children killed in the shootout at Sandy Hook's elementary school have been relentlessly pursued by internet trolls, claiming to be mere footmen paid. However, the story of the lunar landings being staged also resonates with the more plausible notion that the space race itself was both a Cold War spectacle and a triumph of the human spirit. The 1978 Hollywood movie, Capricorn 1, did much to popularize the conspiracy theories of landing on the moon. Based on the book by Kaysing, the film imagined that a landing on Mars was faked in a movie studio, seizing rumors of conspiracy that the moon itself had been directed by Stanley Kubrick. This suggestive myth is based in part on the idea that special effects have become much more sophisticated with Kubrick's 1968 film 2001, A Space Odyssey, though still far from the capabilities that conspiracy theories they suppose. Even if we are forced in factual terms, Conspiracy theories of lunar landing, however, evoke the most plausible possibility that, in our media-saturated age, reality itself is constructed, if not actually falsified.